¡Vamos, hostia! ¡Vamos, hostia!
Hello. I don't know what's going on with these videos. It's doing my head in. I'm just going to have to get rid of them. Sorry, man. How are you doing, guys? My intro completely fucked up, as everyone knows. But this video never works, and I don't know why. But anyway, welcome to Melbourne.
Good evening, everybody. Nice to be back with you, Andrew.
Good evening.
Better than that, sometimes on that Ryan channel, that luckily can't hear what I'm saying. Luckily, Ryan can't hear what I'm saying. I much prefer your channel.
Oh God, yeah, I know. It's so negative all the time.
Where's Ryan coming on? Is he coming on later, Ryan?
I think he's. I don't know where he's coming on at all. He's always late, isn't he? Oh, hang on. Hello, Ryan. How you doing?
Oh, sorry.
Oh. I think you're fine, Robert. I'm the least negative person here, especially in Europe. We talk about some other people, but yeah. Oh dear, there's a whole other show.
Well, exactly, absolutely it is, and yeah, after that disastrous start, we're still waiting for Chappers as well, who will be with us very shortly. He's messaged me; he's got problems with his connection again, as always, but we'll push on. And I mentioned to you all on the sort of WhatsApp earlier, no one needs to hear anymore about this horrendous defeat we had at the weekend. It was so depressing. Everyone knows that already. So going to try our best to keep things upbeat today, if we possibly can. Try and find any morsels of positivity that are out there at the moment for Arsenal fans. You can see from Melvin's face that, he's finding it hard. Bless him. Are you, Melv? Yeah, you were going to get your face painted to make you look happy, weren't you, tonight? Yeah. So you'd end up looking like the Joker. But yeah, we're going to do our best to do that. We're going to see where the conversation takes us. Like we basically just have a bit of as the name suggests, Arteta-tet on a Wednesday. So we can just chat about everything Arsenal, really. So I'm going to start with you, Melvin. I asked you to see if you could possibly get some positivity to talk about, rather. What you come up with? I bet you. I'm keeping my fingers crossed there.
No, I'm going to. There's a little word in our language called "if," and it means such a lot. And and I have at the moment, I've still got confidence in the manager. And if you've got confidence in our manager, I think it's going forward. Not tomorrow, not next week, not next month. Going forward, we have got the basis, not necessarily a spine, which everyone talks about, the basis of a very, very good first 11. They talk about people wanting to have great squads, and you do need squads because of injuries and what have you. But if your first 11 is solid, if one or two have to come in and go out, it doesn't really matter. You don't need double for every position. Look at the great Liverpool team at the moment. They hardly use many players in their league. And I think we should aspire to that. All the great teams were like that. We had it years ago. We practically knew what our first 11 would be. And it breeds confidence as well with the players. They know each other so much better. So if you've got faith in the manager, which I've got, we've got 5 or 6 or 7 actually. 6 or 7 very, very good players. And I'm
absolutely.
I'm hoping that our manager will sort out the wheat from the chaff, to look at now the players that he can trust and those that he can't. It's all, he said at the beginning he's going to wipe the slate clean. Hopefully he's done that. But the proof will be in the pudding. Hopefully he knows
Absolutely.
now you find out about players when it gets tough, not when it's easy. Right? And this has been tough for us. Really all season, really, but especially the last game, which we won't talk about. But he can now see the players that will let him down on a normal basis. So I'm going forward, I'm quite relaxed. I might have said it a long time ago. Where we are now, forget about the position because it's early days, but where we are now to defensively, I'm not attacking it defensively, I'd have taken it 12 months ago. I wouldn't have believed it with these type of players, but I'd have taken it. So we have definitely here got something to build on, and that's my positive for the evening.
That's fantastic. Do you know what? You shocked me, Melvin. I'm actually really, buoyed by what you just said. It's like a proper TED talk. Thank you for that. That's wicked. I think, but to be serious, I think that the 3 goals we let in at the weekend, a bit of I don't know. It's just one of those days. I'm not worried at all about the defence, even though we let in those 3 goals at the weekend. It's still it's up front where we've got the issues. And anyway, I'll come on to what I was going to talk about in a bit. I'm going to move on to you, Ryan. See what your positive thought for the day is on Arsenal.
Well, pretty much the same as Melvin. It is early. People have got to remember it's early days. This is Mikel Arteta's first job as well. He's won us a trophy, not trophy, because Community Shield is it's a charity thing.
Exactly.
If we lived in Spain, it'd be quite important. They call it the Super Cup over there, don't they?
Super Duper Cup.
Well, not just Spain. Lots of other countries, sorry, go on.
No, he's won us an FA Cup. In the one, obviously, out of everything we came into the job, it was a complete mess. Everywhere you looked, it was like the players weren't happy with the previous manager and what happened there in the end. And he had to grind something, get something out of these players to salvage something from that previous season. And I think, honestly, if COVID hadn't happened and the league hadn't been shut down, we possibly could have got fifth or fourth in the league because of the form we were going into that time. And certain people have short memories and they forget them sort of things. We weren't conceding a lot. We weren't scoring up, but we were hard to beat and we were grinding the results out and getting wins suddenly out of nothing. But the last game we played before lockdown was West Ham at home. I remember being there with my cousin and we were like, West Ham completely dominated that game pretty much. But we got out of that game with a win, which was majorly important at the time. And then obviously lockdown happened. The whole football league got put on pause until the summer. And that sort of, if you think about it, it did disrupt the flow because we was just getting to the flow of things there. And obviously come back, had a couple of defeats in the league, but we still got a few wins under the belt as well. And people got to remember that when last league game against Watford, they had something to fight for. Let's be honest, they had to win to stay up themselves. But we took them to the cleaners basically. 1-3-0, 4-0. Not 4-0. 3-1 or 4-1, something like that. But it was. So we do know these players without Özil, because we'll probably come at some point. Without Özil, we do know how to attack and be creative. It's just the players themselves, not just the manager and the manager. Sometimes the players have to take responsibility themselves, especially nowadays. You can't take the wages out of the equation anymore because they're on stupidly high wages a week. That's all their sponsorships, this, that, and the other. To turn up twice a week, home or away, and perform. And sometimes they're going to drop form. But this dropping form against and dropping points against the likes of Villa at home and Leicester at home, it's got to stop. And I know it's early. This is what I'm saying. It's early days. Arteta is going to make mistakes, but he's learning from it, and he took responsibility. We don't want to talk about Sunday, but after that match, he came out and said, "It's all on me, not the players. I made the mistakes."
Yeah, that was good to hear.
But and for years we've seen the Arsene Wengers and even Unai Emery not take that sort of responsibility, and not give us a reason why thing's happened. He's open enough to say, you know what, I've made a mistake, but I'm going to learn from it. And in these next 2 weeks while we've got international football, I'm going to work on figuring out the best way forward to get things back to where they should have been, where they were. And that's refreshing to hear. Because as I said, for so long we had the excuse of it's the referee's fault, it's that person's fault, it's this. No, for once he's just gone, no, all on me. And I
exactly
appreciate that more than anything. But the players themselves have to take responsibility as well.
Absolutely,
Can I just say,
yeah, go on.
Sorry to interrupt. I can just say that we talk about we beat Liverpool at home, we beat United away. There's one performance that really gave me a lot of hope this season. Or was it last season? I don't know where. No, must have been this season. No, last season. Sorry, yeah, last season. Great result. Yeah. Wolves away. I saw a change there.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And no one seems to mention that game. I thought we played that perfectly. We,
it was. I totally agree with you, Melvin. It was really encouraging, and people have forgotten that we were struggling to win away at all anywhere.
Exactly for 2 years.
We are winning. I know it's a bit skewed at the moment because of the no crowds business, and it's hard to gauge, whether it actually means as much anymore. But we're winning away, and we really need to take encouragement from that. And my positive part, and Chappers is here now, so just quickly say hello.
What voice?
As long as he's got no dial up. Hello, you all right?
Oh, yeah. How you doing?
Have you got a beret on?
What?
Are you wearing a beret?
No,
you've got a beret on.
Just some more new interesting Barnet experiments. You know me, Andrew. I won't leave it alone, will I?
How are you anyway?
At least you've got a Barnet.
I'm okay, mate. I've got to be honest with you. I mean, I don't know what I've missed. Have I missed much?
Some dancing girls.
You missed Melvin actually being positive.
Okay. Well, for a minute, I thought that maybe I might have. I thought maybe Ryan had found a cure for coronavirus, and perhaps Melvin had sort of addressed the inequalities in the world's sort of financial wealth system, and perhaps Andrew, that you'd written, like the modern day version of the Kubla Khan. But you know what? Melvin being positive, that trumps it all, mate. That trumps it all, Melvin.
I know, and Ryan's told me that he's already 1/4 of the way through the Kama Sutra with his missus as well. So that's quite positive.
All right, DM me, Ryan. I need to know.
Big hello to Richard, who's watching as well, and Albert. Nice to see you. You go, Ryan. Chappers, you go with your positive thing for the podcast now as well. What have you found and dug around and sort of, look at the little pigs that go around looking for truffles? Have you found anything that's positive about Arsenal to talk about?
Yes, I have. I mean, I don't know if you guys have said this already, but Gunnosaurus is back, man.
That's a point, actually.
Oh, yes.
Yesterday.
Yeah.
Back at the stadium, everything.
Yeah. You can't
Victory for Mesut Ozil.
Verve barrel scraping, rearrange these well-known words.
He's back, baby. He's back.
I was going to say, it didn't last long, did it?
No, absolutely. And Mesut Ozil won. He's put the club where they belong, in the gutter, hasn't he? Good old Mesut. But no, it is very good to see him back. Very good, the green little fella. Well, he's not so little, is he? He's quite big, but that's good. Very good.
He's a giant amongst men.
It's good he's back, but I don't think he's overworked, do you?
No, exactly. But he's just giving out the positive vibes. That's all we need at the moment. That's all we need.
Spread a little bit of cheer.
I think that the defeat could be a very, very positive thing in its own right. because things were going along, ticking along very smoothly. And Meza, bloody hell, got him on your brain now. Get out my head.
Rent free, mate.
Mikel,
Rent free in your head.
I know, Mikel, right? He obviously thought that, you know, winning 1-0 is perfect. It's great. You know, we keep going along, I think it's the best thing that could have happened to him getting beaten 3-0, because he finally realises what it actually feels like to have got spanked. It was very unlikely. I thought we were very unlikely to ever get beaten 3-0 under Mikel Arteta. But the fact that he has now, he's got to do something about the attack. He knows that the defence is a lot stronger, but it's not perfect because we're just letting 3 goals against Villa. But he knows more than ever now that we're absolutely desperate to start sorting out this attacking issue we've got. And he's got 2 weeks to properly resolve this issue and do something different. He's not a stupid man. He knows that doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results is not going to work, surely to God. So this 2-week break, as bad as it is, and how much we all hate interlulls, but it could be an absolute blessing in disguise. And I think that defeat just before this, he's got nothing to do over the next 2 weeks but think about that and how he's going to make things better. And I think that's going to be a good thing in the long run. This pain, short-term pain for long-term gain. And I'm quite positive about that will happen.
I think during lockdown, lots of people have sort of taken up new hobbies and stuff like that. You know, some people like to do a little bit of crocheting.
Yeah, well, like Ryan with his Kama Sutra. Yeah, it's perfect.
Yeah, Ryan's doing the Kama Sutra. Some people like to do a jigsaw. Mikel has chosen possibly the most difficult jigsaw to put together, and he's only got a 2-week time span to complete this very, very difficult jigsaw. He knows what's wrong. He knows that the attack's not working, and he knows why it's not working. But I'm not 100% certain that he knows how he's going to fix it. He is. I mean, the thing about Mikel Arteta and the fact that there's a microscope on him at all times, mainly because of his connection to Arsenal, and B, because when he got the job, he was very much an unproven manager. For him, he's going to be aware of all this, and so it's very much the whole thing is kind of enhanced, if you like. It's an enhanced kind of thing for him, that he knows that he has to fix it. I mean, he's good with pressure, I think, and who knows whether if he's got the wherewithal to be able to sort of sort this mess out. I agree with you, Andrew, in the fact that it really was a bump back down to earth, and the thing that has been concerning me about the team more than anything is that we aren't scoring those goals especially from open play, and he needs to address it very, very quickly. I mean, I personally think that the guy's got a really, really good footballing brain, and a few tweaks to the system here and there is going to be able to free. I think it's going to have to be ultimately that we sacrifice a little bit of that solidity and a little bit of that structure in order for to let those creative players such as Saka and Aubameyang and Pepe kind of go out and address those issues and break out of that structure and kind of create something that's going to get some goals, basically.
Definitely. And one other major piece of positivity is the fact that it looks like Gabriel Martinelli is ahead of schedule coming back. It looks like he's going to be back before the end of December.
You can't see me wearing my trousers, mate. I'm sorry.
I know, yeah. It's just don't get too excited
I
whilst
am.
you're live on YouTube. But afterwards, you can do what you like. But I mean that is seriously good because if there's any chance whatsoever of him getting back into the team, finding some form, getting his match fitness before the end of the year, I mean, what a boost that would be. And it would give us the possible opportunity of maybe selling Lacazette in January. You never know. You never know. We were £2 million away from selling him in the summer. So maybe get that choice.
What was the bid?
Yes. Juventus offered us £22 million, and we wanted £25 million minimum. It's £2 or £3 million, and nope, not joking at all. Not joking at all.
I actually think that he is probably worth more than that. Although obviously on recent form, that isn't the greatest. It's not the greatest advertisement, but all things considered, but we were in a deflated market, and very much at the beginning of the season, we didn't know what his form was going to be like anyway. I think he is worth more than that, and we should actually wait to cash in for a slightly bigger bid.
Chappers, I disagree.
No, I think we will get rid of him.
Look at it. I'll tell you what I think. You're saying he's worth, say, 30 million. He's not worth 30 million to us. Because if you're going to keep him, that means he's going to play. If he's going to play, that means there's other people I think are better than him that should be in the centre forward position. If you like, Aubameyang. We get Martinelli back. The obvious thing for me was putting Martinelli left wide, where him and Saka and Tierney have got an understanding. We've seen that before. Play Aubameyang in the centre, and that's it. Once you play Lacazette, you change it all round. And I don't want to have a go at him too much, but I've said it everywhere. It's quite obvious. He gives away more fouls than he does passes.
That's
so to say he's worth four.
I get what you're saying.
One at a time.
We are crying out for Aubameyang to be played through the middle. I also think that the structure that he currently plays with at the moment, I'm wondering if certainly, like, we're going to lose out on Lacazette's kind of hold-up play and just kind of being able to kind of attract defenders out of position, But again, it's that thing about, well, is it worth the sacrifice? It probably is. You're probably right. And if, again, we didn't know what his form was going to be like when we went into the season. Turns out
he was good. Don't forget, he scored 3 and 3. He scored 3 and 3, and then he had that other one wrongly disallowed. So he could have been on 4 goals after 4 games. But those are the breaks, and he's just been pretty diabolical lately.
He hasn't, at the same time, though, he hasn't necessarily put in those performances to back up the goals that he's scored.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely not. But at the end of the day, he knows that he's expendable. And this is an issue that we've got, but it's also something we could possibly have a look at in January and not actually have to replace him potentially either if Martinelli is back or ahead of schedule. Yeah. And maybe we could wait until the summer and not have to buy someone that is not 100% right for us, just to get us through again. We don't want to be doing that, do we? I mean, we need to make sure we get the right people in the squad now, more than anything. So I think that's a positive, to be perfectly honest. And fingers crossed that something can happen. But it'll be an incredible boost to see him back, Martinelli. I'll be so excited.
Have we got any Europa games before the Christmas break? Do you know?
3 more.
Yeah,
Three more.
Yeah, we've got Mulder away, haven't we, I think, next?
Yeah.
Mulder away, and then...
Don't talk at home, innit? Or not? No,
Vienna. Rapid Vienna at home, Dundalk away.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, exactly.
There's
a few games.
To maybe dip Martinelli's toe into one or some of those games. See.
Great.
On really, if he's ready.
Yeah. I would.
And the other great thing is that Saliba had 90 minutes yesterday playing against Gillingham and looked really good. Yeah, apparently read the reports. He looked really promising. Really, he had a good game.
Yeah.
Callum Chambers played the first 45 minutes, which was good as well. But I mean, if Saliba can get a few more under 23 games in the next 2 or 3 weeks under his belt, then maybe he can start being integrated into the first team. Maybe we've got a Carabao Cup game in December. If we win that, we've got another one in December. So, like you said, we've got a good, like Melvin said right at the beginning, his positive is that we've got the bones of a really good squad sort of building up. And with a couple of youngsters as well, plus the form of Willock, plus the form before we had that bit of an injury from Reece Nelson in the Europa League as well. We have got some options to actually get this attack moving potentially, and we've got and like I say, if we can get integrated William Saliba in rather than sending him out on loan, it'll be absolutely fantastic. So we have got some positives to look forward to, and I can't help thinking that the type of guy that Mikel Arteta is, he's going to be really, really pissed off about that defeat, and he's going to be working damn hard to overcome that. And over the next couple of weeks, whilst they're on international duty.
Just to move on, another thing that sort of aggs me.
Yeah.
Every negative, if you have a negative result, be it a draw or defeat that we've had, the first thing our fan base goes to is not the Ozil situation; it's Saliba. And none of them address the main issue. Is this whole Saliba issue itself wouldn't be an issue. But people are forgetting that during this year, the shit that we've all had as a collective globally, he's lost his mum. In the months of all this, making a big move to London and all that, and a new language, a new style of play, new league, everything. This disease has took his mum, and he's grieving. He couldn't go back he couldn't grieve with his family. And this is where Arteta, again, good man management, actually went. I can understand, see where you're coming from. You know what? You need to be with your family. Also, you need to play football, but be with your family more so in its time of grief. We're going to try and get you back in Saint Etienne or somewhere in France, just to, as I said, be with the family. But no one seems, whatever. I'll take over with this Saliba thing. The reason he's not in the Europa League squad because they're hoping to get him back to Saint Etienne to be with his family for the rest of the season, so they can grieve together. But they don't want to mention that because it doesn't suit their agenda because they just want to batter it over.
No, absolutely.
Exactly.
About the third. This is probably about the third pod in a row, if not more, about when we've sort of mentioned that. And I won't go through it all again, but it's good that the club are looking after him because it will pay us back tenfold in the long term with him because. He could be a real quality player, and everyone's going mad about. Is it Fofana, Leicester, who used to be his partner? And every specialist in French football said, bar none, that Saliba was the better of the two players. And
also, sorry, Fofana's only playing because Voss has been forced into it due to injuries. When he had a fully fit squad, he wasn't being played. Soyuncu and Johnny Evans and even Wes Morgan were ahead of him. But injuries are forced in.
My God, Wes Morgan. Have you seen the state of Wes Morgan?
Yeah, a bit of a chunker now.
He's about 20 odd stone, isn't he? Surely.
Yeah,
like Billy Bunter.
Really?
My God, he's massive. I mean, honestly.
You can't take anything away from this Leicester defender, though Saliba.
No. I'm not even trying to.
He's very good. If he's actually grown into it, the Premiership. This guy from Leicester, so he's done very well.
Absolutely,
young kid. So he's done very well. And I'll be honest with you, Leicester's one of those clubs. A bit like, I suppose, Leicester's probably the best one out there. But their transfers are fantastic. They find players,
absolutely,
and 15, 20, and next minute go, bloody hell, where did he come from?
Well, look at Kante and Mahrez in that sense.
Zinchenko is another great example of that, isn't he?
Really
Who
good.
is, he's pretty much undroppable from that team now, isn't he?
Yeah.
Well, we're looking for a new sort of head of football, not as senior as Raul was, but we're looking for someone to come in, and we could do far, far, far worse than getting that guy in from Leicester. I'll tell you, he'll be an amazing steal. But I doubt we'll get him. But I'm just saying, what a great job he's done.
How important that is for a
completely
club.
out of my head.
How important. Unsung heroes, these people.
Absolutely. And I like the guy from Norwich as well. Although they had a bad season last year, he's a fantastic guy.
Not his fault. He's coming.
No, Stuart Webber. His name, Stuart Webber. I like him as well, and I've heard him being interviewed on the radio a few times, and he comes across so well. He'll be another good one to get. But yeah, we'll see where we go with that. So moving on, I've talked about that thing. I'm actually not going to say the second thing either. Who wants to take the next subject? Because there's two things here. I've touched on one of them already, which was the Lacazette potentially being able to be swapped by Martinelli. I'm not going to go into the other one because it will make me too depressed. So who's going to move on to the next one? Who's got something else to say? You had a few things, didn't you, Chappers?
I did actually, but I've forgotten them all. Hang on, I did write them down. Hang on, let me just get the thing up.
I've got them.
Oh, well done. Oh yeah, let's have a chat about Nicola Pepe, shall we?
Oh yeah.
Let's talk about Pepe.
Yeah.
Here we go.
So Pepe's been out on international duty at the moment. A massive kind of hoo-ha has been made in the French press. But the French press says that's not a particular sort of style of a new style of football. The French press, they actually do have an actual press that reports on the actual sport. He gave an interview with a journalist at in the French press, essentially sort of saying that he's very frustrated about being on the bench. That perhaps he isn't getting the chances that he thinks he possibly could have, that he's been talking to Arteta, doesn't necessarily agree with everything that Arteta is telling him, but is also acknowledging the fact that those lines of communication are open, I suppose.
But he said it's down to him as well. He knows it's down to him to get into the team.
Yeah, he knows it's down to him. I mean, a lot has been said about whether he should be playing or whether he shouldn't be playing. I think, to be honest, and I am just going to mention it just for a second, Andrew, so don't bite my head off. In the Villa-Arsenal game, the last game, I think we can all agree, well, we were all there, we all saw it, that William was nothing.
Oh, sorry, Chappers, you've been muted. Melvin.
It's quite.
I'm joking.
I mean,
I'm joking. You're back on, Chappers. You're back on.
I'm on. That William was dog shit. And that's, I think, widely acknowledged. Surely it's time. And if so I'm going to do a little bit of devil's advocate here as well. So we all want Pepe to play. We all want him, to be the player that we thought he was going to be when he signed from Lille. But the big question is, why isn't the coach playing him? Why isn't he playing him? Surely there are reasons. And what are those reasons? And if so, are they strong enough reasons for him not to be picked?
Melvin's pointing at his ceiling. Go on, Melvin.
Yeah. Nice ceiling. I think it's quite ironic that Pepe says that he's getting frustrated with not playing. He's the most frustrating player we have in the club.
Well,
but I will always back up Pepe because he's the sort of player I will want to watch, and he is frustrating, but he's exciting at the same time.
I love
watching him.
I'm not saying he's bad. I'm just saying he is very frustrating. You know he's got the talent.
He is frustrated. But, you know
he's got the talent. You know he's got it all there.
Much more enjoyable to watch. Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, how much better is he to watch than Willian has been? I mean, seriously.
Yeah, but let's not make that the standard. Because
no, I know.
But it's very easy to say about any player. Oh, Williams, is far worse than him. That's not the standard we should at the moment. We're looking at. We should be looking at the player as he is. And I think that if you're asking me, he was slightly unlucky with the shot he had when he came on, the one that just went past the post. Apart from that, I can't get in Arteta's mind, obviously, but I think probably he's not his type of player on the basis that our manager doesn't like players, especially forwards, giving the ball away in dangerous positions. That's what he does. I would not play him where Arteta play him. I'd play him more in the middle because he can always take on someone and draw defenders out. So on the wing, he's isolated. He seems to always be isolated. I would definitely play him inside so he can go either way past the player, though he's one-footed. And therefore, as I said before, make defenders make a decision. And if you can, at some stage, some of the times they can only stop him when he's on a run is by fouling him. So they ain't going to give too many fouls around the edge of the box, number one. But what frustrates me is he's got confidence. I don't believe he hasn't got confidence because he'll see 4 defenders in front of him and he'll want to take on all 4. If there's 5, he'll take on 5. He won't release it after the second.
I don't think he's the sort of person that really particularly wants to take on people and dribble around people and stuff like that. I don't think he's that type of guy. Honestly, I think people have got him wrong. I think he's got bags of pace, and he's a finisher. His finishing is absolutely incredible, brilliant. And I think he's the sort of person that can get space and bang, he's either crossing it or he's shooting at goal. I really do. I don't think he's the sort of person that is tricky and does step overs and takes on people like that. I don't think that's the type of guy he is. He can knock it past someone and then beat them for pace. He'll go on the outside and try and beat them for pace. But he's not like, a step over king or anything like that. Really, he's not. He can create that bit of space in the box to shoot or cross. Whatever, but I think he's a different type of player personally.
Go on,
Chappers.
I was just going to say, I think he also finds himself doing that. I think probably out of necessity a lot of the time, because as Mel was saying, he's isolated so often that you don't know where to go. There's literally nowhere for him to put the ball, so he has to drive forward and try and beat those players.
But can you imagine, Andrew, if he got the ball on the edge of the box, driving into the box, they wouldn't be able to touch him, mate. They'd have to say, what are we going to do here?
Well, this is the funny thing, because a few weeks ago, there was some Clive from the Arsenal Vision podcast, everyone loves Clive. He was talking about something on Twitter. And I said to him about sometimes, they asked about managers overcomplicating things. And sometimes you just need to play a bog standard 4-4-2 or 4-3-3 and just play to players to their strengths. And that was the point I was making. And funnily enough, I think Gunner Blog on the Arscast, was it Monday, maybe the last one, was on about the same thing. He said, people are going to shoot me down for this, but sometimes I think a 4-4-2 would suit us. And I totally agree, because that's what I said to Clive a few weeks ago. And I said, maybe we could actually have the right players to play something like that. It ain't going to happen. I don't think in a million years Arteta would do something like that. But if you play Pepe up front with Aubameyang and let them just do their thing and use their pace, I think we could do some real damage playing in a 4-4-2. And I know it sounds old-fashioned, but sometimes, like I said, managers are overcomplicating systems and trying to outdo each other and be more modern than their competitors. And it does my head in a little bit, to be honest with you, because football ain't that complicated. As long as you've got some good players and you use them to their strengths, I think that could work personally.
That's what makes
Pepe and Aubameyang up front.
Andrew. That's what makes ordinary managers,
Well-
great managers, from ordinary managers, getting the best out of your players and knowing and giving them a job to do. And I'm afraid we haven't
Exactly.
got
And
that yet.
I heard there's on the Athletic. There's a podcast called Football Cliches, and they played a little clip today, and I think it was not an old one, but I think it's about a week old. This podcast I listened to, and they played a clip of Peter Reid, and I wish I'd written down some notes, but I was at work at the time, so I couldn't. And it was quite funny because Peter Reid was saying things like they just try and reinvent football, and they say bringing in words like transition when that's just winning the ball back.
Yeah, I saw that.
Did you hear that?
Yeah, I saw that.
And some other things were, about deep press and stuff like that. He goes, that's just closing down. That's what we were doing, when I was playing in the 80s, and blah, blah, blah. That's the point I've been trying to make for the last few weeks when I've been talking about this, overcomplicating football. And it's stupid. Football's a very simple game, really. So sometimes I think we should do something a bit. Unfortunately, I don't think Arteta will do it. And the reason he ain't getting the best out of Pepe is that he doesn't trust Pepe to do what he wants the player to do on that side. And I don't think he should be doing what Mikel Arteta wants, because you don't pay £72 million for someone that you want running up and down the wing all the time and covering your right back. You don't. Why do you do that? You want him down the sharp end of the pitch, scoring goals and creating chances. And that's what they made it. But the thing is, and I know I said this before, but I'm convinced that he's not properly satisfied with the defence yet either, playing out from the back. He wants them to be second nature, playing out from the back. And he doesn't feel that they've conquered that properly. And they haven't. They still make mistakes. But it took Pep a long time to get that conquered when he came into City. But until he's got that defence properly sorted, he won't let the midfielders loose to sort of move forward and help the attackers. And that's the problem. I think he's too conservative, and he's not brave enough with the way the team plays. It's quite simple. I think that's the case.
When you're talking about overcomplicating things, Mark Crosley used to play for Nottingham Forest in goal, and he's done a few podcasts. They're hilarious. They're not as funny as Terry Mancini, but they're hilarious. Good evening, Terry. He spoke about the way that Clough saw his team. Fullbacks, all you do, you defend and you might go forward. Centre halves, I don't want to see you dribbling with the ball. I don't want to see you giving side passes. Kick it or head it out. That's all you've got to do. And if he saw a footballer do something that he hadn't told him, just the obvious, he'd get rid of them. They're this centre forward they bought. And what he said, what you got to do, the ball comes up to you, hold it up till the rest of the team comes up and lay it off. The first time the geezer got the ball, he started flicking it around the corner. On one of these occasions, the other team got the ball off him, obviously, and went up the other end and scored. I mean, that was the end of his career, basically, with Clough.
Yeah.
So it's really simplified things. You play on the wing, you beat the full back and you cross it. Right? No, that's what you got to do. Just concentrate on that and you'll be fine. And that is the way he did it, Brock. He really, I would call, had a team with Forest and a little bit with Derby of legs 11. They weren't the best footballers in any position necessarily, but they were the best football team because they played.
Exactly. Same as Ipswich under Bobby Robson.
Yeah, very much so. Yeah, yeah.
No star names at all when those two teams got put together by Robson and Cloughie, but they completely romped Europe, didn't they? And it's just incredible. But the same thing goes for Liverpool in lots of ways, doesn't it? The way that team's been put together. Well, I mean, they spent a lot of money on Alisson. They spent a lot of money at the end on Van Dijk. But the rest of the team just worked brilliantly together. And there's no major egos in the team when they put them together. And even Salah and Mane, Mane wasn't a major star. He was from Southampton. But Salah, he was a reject from Chelsea. They didn't want him. And they sold him to Italy somewhere. But they pulled him out of that team. Yeah. And
was it? Did you say Ryan?
Roma.
I thought it was Roma. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm going to go through some of these comments because we've had some really good ones, and it's only fair we need to read them out. Where are we? Richard. This time last season, Aubameyang had scored 7 goals in 8 games playing through the middle. Lacazette was injured. This season, he has 2 in 8. Exactly. Great point. And I don't know where you're getting this. What this point really, where you're getting it from, Richard? You said Martinelli will need to score 1 in every 2 chances he has if he's going to make a difference. He's been out for months. I'm not sure he will have that sort of conversion rate. Why would he have to score 1 in every 2? No, I don't really get that. Because we're not talking about the type of chances created at the moment being the case when Martinelli's back in the team. We can't be even thinking that that's going to be the case because I don't think Arteta will be in a job if he is. So, yeah, so I don't think that's where you're getting that from, but I can't see that long term. Willian is in the side as he tracks back. Pepe doesn't offer that. And this is from Russ Morgan. Thanks for watching, Russ. I don't think Arteta values just an attacking contribution. I think that's probably right at the moment. And he also said, we aren't going to know how Saliba gets on until the lad gets a chance. And exactly the same goes for Smith Rowe, Willock, Reece Nelson. I'm not going to read that one from Richard because he's glowing with his praise about Pepe. And I'm sure if Pepe watches this, he'll just start getting really shy and he might even bring a tear to his eye.
Pepe's
so
a regular
that one.
Isn't he? A regular watcher,
Exactly, of course he is. He is, yeah.
Nice to see you, Nico.
Terry Mancini, thanks for watching. Pepe's got a crazy playing style. In 2 years, he will either be scoring 20 league goals a season or he'll be trying to get out of a straitjacket using his left foot only. That's so funny. I think he needs to get out of that. He's proper lanky. Russ, all but 2 of Willian's passes against Villa were backwards. What's going on? I think he's... I don't know. I wish I knew.
Do you think it might be a little bit of a? Do you think it might be a bit of a confidence issue with Willian? Because he is far from the player that we've seen literally just last season in the Premier League. You know, he. Do you think that he just might be lacking a little bit in confidence, and that's why his passing stats are crap, and that's why he's not looking very good on the ball? He seems to fit, Arteta seems to think that he fits in within the structure. So I don't know, maybe it's a confidence issue with him.
I hope it is confidence because do you realise?
Yeah.
I'm not a stats man, but I was told the other day that since he's played for us, he's only taken on 2 players. No. Now then, I hope it is confidence and not that he's lost his speed.
I don't think that happens over.
I can't believe that Chelsea's Player of the Year last season is top of all their stats. He was being picked with every game by Lampard when he was fit. I cannot believe that he's gone off a cliff and just disappeared, and all his form's gone within 8 weeks or something like that. It ain't going to happen. So it must be confidence. It must be, and I'm just hoping to God that he definitely needs to be sat down for a while. You can't just keep playing him, trying to get him back in form. The same as what's happening with Lacazette. It's just not conducive to getting results, is it? You can't carry players. So he needs to get his form and confidence back before, whilst sitting on the bench and watching the team play for a little while. Maybe come on for a bit. But
there's now both Nelson and Pepe are knocking at the door for that slot. So it would be madness not to play one of those guys, even if it wasn't Pepe. Nelson deserves.
I think until we've
brilliant games. He had 2 brilliant games, and
exactly.
hasn't even had a look in, really, is he?
I think when Arteta started, he came in and we were playing a 4-2-3-1 for the first few games, and we looked really good and strong. And I think that to go back to basics in the meantime, he ain't going to do that for the 4-4-2 thing we're talking about earlier, he's not going to do it because it's old-fashioned and, he's a hipster manager. But if he goes back to basics and does the 4-2-3-1, I think that we've got the players to do that. And I think that could be really, really beneficial. I mean, Ryan, we've known from you for a while. And what's your thoughts on all this we've been talking about? Obviously, it started off with conversation really about getting the best out of Pepe and, what you think his sort of situation is at the moment within the team and with Arteta.
Well, it's confusing because, as you said, literally, as Russell says in the chat, apart from the Fulham game, Willian really hasn't turned up in any of the games, really, to merit these consistent starts. I mean, even May not, we won and all that. He was hit and miss in that game. Him and Lacazette were the ones that we sort of carried through that game while they were playing. Yet a week later, just because he won, he's in the squad again. And yet during the week before the Man United game, midweek games, Pepe's scoring. Yeah, the performances as a whole aren't there yet. He's assisting goals. He's scoring goals. So I can understand where Pepe's coming from in one sense that, well, I'm doing everything I'm meant to do, and as you said, the sort of money you're paying, you pay for him to do them sort of things, assist goals, create chances, score goals, and he's doing all that. Yeah, the opposition's not great, but he can only play against what he's put in front of. And yeah, literally the next game, like Joe Willock, what we mentioned before on my channel, the exact same in the sense of playing Europa League, 2-man of match performances, and then gets dropped. He's on a suspension, but Pepe's on the bench, it's still kicking the teeth because you've done everything you've been asked of. Clearly, you're doing everything you're meant to do, and assist a goal or score a goal at least in these games. But you're starting in, and then you're getting dropped. It's that must be so disheartening as a player, and especially when you're seeing the person. Yeah. Especially when you're seeing the person replacing you. It's absolutely confidence-wise, whatever it is, it's dropped form. He's just completely dropped off a cliff. And it sort of reminds back when we had Arshavin, and he sort of form dipped around the January time when we played the Leeds and his first full season. It was Leeds in the FA Cup at home. I think it was his second full season at us. And his form just dripped from there. He had a bad game, and then from there, his form just dropped off a cliff. But instead of bringing him out the squad and netting him, working him back in, we just constantly okay, keep playing. And it's just completely blew his confidence, and we sold him on in the end.
Kept stinking the place out. In fact, just making a bigger and bigger stink each week that he was playing.
I think he got played in the wrong position, Arshavin, a lot of the time. It was a graveyard to stick any about.
He wanted to be a 10.
Left wing.
Yeah, I remember.
He wanted to be a 10, didn't he? He was that's his position.
Yeah, I remember one time we had.
But the thing is, can I just say one thing as well, Ryan, before you carry on? Because when Mkhitaryan left Arsenal, would you honestly have said that he was a busted flush? I mean, honestly, all of you.
I would have thought that, in my opinion of him, he didn't give it all. He was a talented player. And for me, his heart wasn't in it.
Would you have said like he's over the hill? A bit,
no, not necessarily. If your heart's not in it, you can be 24 years old and your heart's not in it. I just think his heart wasn't in it.
Because honestly, I just wanted to be see if we can get an honest answer there, not in hindsight. Because obviously now he just got a hat trick for Roma again. He's absolutely knocking it out of the park at the moment.
Yeah,
he's doing. They absolutely love him over there. And I just hope that it's going to take. He just needs to, even though we're still a London club and he's only moved across the city in effect. I just hope that he just needs to settle in and really find his feet, Willian, before we start seeing the best of him. That's what I'm hoping for. Anyway, sorry, Ryan. That's to butt in. And so, hi to Mark Green as well, by the way.
I was going to say with Mkhitaryan as well. I think not just about Arsenal. We saw at Man United. He didn't fit the Premier League by the looks of it. The Premier League is a very, as you always say, physically demanding, different to Bundesliga and Serie A. And some players come to this league from another league and look fantastic. Come to here, they absolutely go, and that's they sort of don't rediscover that form until they go somewhere else on board. And I just think he just sort of player he is could adapt for consistently for that time frame. He was here like 2 years at Arsenal, give or 2.5 years, give or take, plus the loan spell. But 4 years he was at 4 or 5 years he was in the country. Never really hit any sort of rich vein of form at either us or United, did he? I just think
No, he didn't. No.
As you said, he's gone back to Roma on a permanent deal, and he's hitting the form we saw at Dortmund.
Don't forget as well, we haven't had a pre-season, and that's going to affect some people, isn't it? It's going to affect some players.
Yeah.
We literally haven't had a pre-season.
It's affecting everyone in the league, because you think about it, by now you'd have at least the top 3 clubs pulling away. We're literally got 4 points, even though we lost at the weekend. We're like 4 points off top, and we're losing. Yeah. We've lost 4 games. By now,
have you heard about Joe Gomez?
Oh, I think
have you heard about Joe Gomez?
Yeah, he's out for a bit.
Yes, well, long-term absentee, got injury with playing training for England. I mean, that's just Gomez and Virgil van Dijk now. Liverpool have lost. And you can't tell me that, I mean, obviously Virgil van Dijk excluded because we all saw what happened to him. But there's so many injuries happening, and it's got to be because of this, the way that we have finished last season, no pre-season, straight into it this season, game after game after game. You're going to get injuries. And it's going to affect some players as well. They're going to have their fitness is not going to be right at the moment. And I'm just hoping, and I'm just being devil's advocate because I don't want to be really negative about it, but because I've been really critical of Willian, and I really want to try and rein myself in on him because I'm as disappointed as anyone at the moment with him. But I just hope to God that he will just settle and come good eventually, and touch wood that happens.
I think that's we need that. We
Go
need that in the team. We need that in the team because at the end of the day, there is competition for that spot, but I think there needs to be more competition. Not necessarily more players competing for it, but more players hitting the top of their form. So they're giving the manager a headache as to who he's supposed to pick there. So. Yeah, I mean, I am of the opinion that the same as you, Andrew. There's no way that he could just completely have gone AWOL after 8 weeks, and I think the lack of pre-season has absolutely messed up all the teams and the players' preparations. But I also think that we haven't been using that right side enough. There's been too much of a left-sided bias in the team anyway. And I think we can only really begin to exploit other teams from an attacking point of view if we're going down all 3 channels, down the left, down the right, and through the middle as well. And until we're doing that, then we're still going to be back at where we are at the moment, which is scratching our heads, wondering what the fuck to do.
Well, that's why it's really important that Arteta rewards good performances with a chance, and that's why it's not. There's no excuse in my book to have not put Willock, and I know that Reece got injured, but with their performances. You're supposed to use those games to play yourself into the first team, and if you don't get that chance after that, then what's the point? That's when you put yourself in their position, because you see the first team underperforming, not creating chances, not having shots, and you're playing out your skin and in the Europa League and performing. Then you see that you're not even going to get on the bench. That's going to piss you off in the end of the day, and it's going to demoralise you. So. I just hope to God he learns from that as well. Sorry?
I was just saying, more than anything, it's going to really demoralise them and like you say, just make well. What is the point? Why is why should I be trying my best? Why should I be busting a gut to try and get into this team if I'm not getting rewarded with the chances? I do think that Arteta possibly needs to lean a little bit more into the fact that we've got some really, really promising young players coming through, because he does tend to kind of go with the experienced players, which is all very well and good, especially if you've got a big fixture where you need those players to kind of turn up and put in a shift. But I think
sometimes,
there needs to be, but he needs to make that show of faith and show the youngsters that he trusts them and that he's ready to kind of blood them in those big games.
I don't.
Well, we all. Sorry, Melvin. I'm just going to say quickly, we all love to watch these cup games in Europa League because the youngsters come in generally, especially under Wenger, and we wanted to see them. We wanted to see their enthusiasm and their energy and their bravery, didn't we? And that's what you like to see sometimes, just to throw them in because they're fearless. They haven't got anything to compare it to. They just go for it, and they're not scared of other players that they're coming up against. They just try and take them on because they want to be noticed. Sorry, Melvin, you were going to say?
No, I was going to say, I don't think in today's football there is that much difference between youngsters and fully fledged professionals that have played for ages. I think you're seeing now a lot of youngsters from other clubs, 17-year-olds, is it Bellingham or something? Bellingham?
Yeah.
He's 17 years old, right? You got Sancho. I mean, how old was he when he got in the first team? And who else? Sorry. Who else did you say, Andrew? Sorry.
Rayner.
I don't know him.
What's his name? What's his first name? Rayner at Dortmund.
There's another
Claudio's son.
Yeah.
Oh, right. So, you can go, there's probably about half a dozen out there that are 17, 18-year-olds that are just killing it. It doesn't matter what their age is. I mean, we had one, Fabregas. Forget about his age. He was 16 when he played for us. He was different gravy from day one. So,
what do you think? I mean, I keep banging the drum for playing ESR. ESR needs a chance. He's 20 now. Once he's fit, he's got to go in a team. And Mark Green said, "Big up, guys. For a Jack Grealish." Who's to say that he can't be as good as Jack Grealish? He's got the skills and he's got the talent.
I wish he was. If he's as good as Jack Grealish,
we don't know. We don't know. Or everyone that's ever worked for him and trained him can't speak highly enough of him. Have you listened to that podcast I mentioned a few days ago by any chance? I don't know whether any of you heard that, but it's an athletic one, and it's the next big thing. It's called, and it was all about. It's only about 25 minutes long. It's all about Smith Rowe. Have you listened to it? Everyone has said this kid is definitely going to be an England player within the next couple of years, but he needs to be given his chance. And who knows that he's not going to be as good as Grealish? Who knows that he's not going to be as good as all the players that Chelsea go and scour the whole of Europe for and paid multi-millions of pounds for? He could be.
Should not be a barrier now.
No, exactly. That's what I'm trying to make.
I do seem to be wrapping up a lot of these young, talented players in cotton wool a little bit these days. It's very much that whole kind of, they need to be eased into the first team. They don't need to have too much. I mean, I get that. I understand that about they don't need to have too much pressure put upon them because they're not used to that. But surely, isn't this the perfect time for them to actually experience?
Took the words out of my mouth.
Yeah, to experience those fixtures without actually having to feel that massive pressure of 60,000 fans getting in their ear and every time they make a fucking mistake. So, surely it's. I mean, I texted you earlier, didn't I, Andrew, and saying like, will Emile Smith Rowe ever make it? And there's no denying that the boy's got talent. But because of most managers' preferences to kind of, like I say, wrap them up in cotton wool or ease them in or whatever you want to say, that they are, I think perhaps their development is being hindered a little bit by that rather than helped.
And do you know what? I think the lack of actually playing doesn't do his fitness any good either. It doesn't help the fact that he's had these little niggly injuries, and a lot of that could be caused by not playing often when you're an athlete. And I don't know which podcast it was on, whether it was Arscast or whether it was the Arsenal Vision or something. Someone was talking about that, saying that players need to be rotated and played. You know, when we're talking about the Europa League squad, you should always change it and play a completely different team. And he said that it can be derogatory to a player's fitness by being dropped. It's better for their bodies in lots of occasions to keep playing. And I don't know where he went into some details about it, and I can't remember all of the details, so apologies. But potentially for Emile Smith-Rowe, it would do him good by actually playing more and more games. You know, at his age, he's only 20. I remember when we were kids, and we used to be outside playing football from like sunrise to sunset, and just go home for some dinner and go back out again and carry on playing. When you're young, you could do that. And I think it does you some good. I'm not saying about running him into the ground like we did with, I think Jack Wilshere obviously rushed back from injury too quick and blah, blah, blah. I'm not saying, be stupid with these guys, but the sports science nowadays tells you what you can do and what you can't do with these players. And I just think that they need to play. They really need to play. And I think sometimes when you have got that no fear kind of attitude and you're not, you haven't got an inferiority complex coming up against some really famous players that you've got to try and beat. You've got that sort of youthful vigor and, the bravery. Sometimes it just does you really good and you can just go, you just fly. Look what Martinelli did last season. I've got no doubts that he will hit the ground running when he comes back into the team because he's got the attitude. He's got the attitude he will never be beaten. He wants to be the best in the world. And I think he's going to just come in and take off from where he left off last season, personally. I'm really confident with that. I totally agree. Giving him a chance.
One of those Sanchez things, isn't it? It's like I read something about it was just like a tweet or something, a joke about Sanchez. It's like, are you sure you're fit to play this weekend, Alexis? I play. But both of your legs have been chopped off in a horrific accident and your head is hanging off of your body. I play.
No, give me 1 second. We've got
Yeah. Yeah. Well, Mark Green has said regarding Willian, he had 11 goals, 8 assists last season. He will come good. I feel
Mark Darby.
Beg your pardon. I need to put my glasses on. I'm stupid. I keep saying Mark Darby, I do beg your pardon. There is a Mark Green, but that's a different comment. He had 11 goals, 8 assists. He will come good, I feel. He hasn't had great support on the right. Having said that, I feel he can try harder. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And Mark Green, thanks for watching, Mark. Should try ESR, Nelson, Balogun. If you don't try it, you don't know how it will go. Let's be honest, it can't be worse than the Dross, Willian, Laka, and to a lesser extent, Pepe produced. You don't know what I mean. Every career started off with a brave manager putting them in and letting them see what they could do. Everyone goes mad about all the youngsters in the Bundesliga, and don't they? And they want to go and buy them. But we can have some under our noses, and unless you put them in the first team, we don't know whether they're going to be good enough. It's really annoying.
We've got two youngsters from our team who are, well, one of them, to be fair, one of them is getting fairly regular playing time, who are now, currently with the England squad in Maitland-Niles and Saka,
Exactly.
So they're being picked for England, and yet they're still, so they're still not getting their, or some of them aren't getting their chances in our first team, which is madness. Madness, I tell you.
You've got to remember, though, you name me half a dozen footballers that play in the Premier League that haven't played for England. Very difficult. Yeah. It's not what it used to be to play for England.
True.
Well, a lot of the French guys haven't, or Spanish guys. So.
I forgot about them. Yeah, of course. I should have done.
Leno, he's never played for England, has he? Yeah. But yeah, we need to start wrapping up soon, because I know you've got to go fairly soon, chappers, and So we'll just have a quick whiz round. Really, has anyone else got any other business really that you would like to sort of mention today that you've? Go on in. Fire away, chaps.
I've read some absolute fucking gold on Twitter today. It was sent to me by a mate, and it really is brilliant. It was a Twitter thread from. I urge everyone to go and check it out. It's the funniest thing. So it's by Scott Oliver at _sweeper. And it says, on the sesh with Premier League managers, a thread. I'll read you a few of them out. So we can start with Pep Guardiola. CIA grade acid in Pep's mountain poetry retreat. Everything groovy. 20 minutes in, in your personal space asking, how is it? Is it good? What do you see? You start explaining at the same time. He dances around you. You go into the woods and start running forever.
I didn't get through all of them.
My favourite, I think, is Ralph Hasenhüttl, because I for some reason I can absolutely imagine a night out with Ralph going like this. Ready? Meet in Airbnb loft in Kreuzberg for lines and cocktails. Uber to Bergheim for 10-hour techno set from Marco Carola. Ralph scores awesome pills for everyone. Pay me later. He heads for the dance floor. You next see him at 7 a.m. explaining counter-pressing to baffled Koreans.
Have you seen the one he did in Daesh?
The one brilliant. Oh yeah, okay.
Read the Daesh one out.
Is there one of Daniel Farker as well, by any chance?
Yes.
That'd be great.
Oh no, he's not in there actually. But it is the Sean Dyche.
Oh, missed opportunity.
More pints, then more pints. Dyche becoming aggressively tactile. A shit club and lots of shots. Dyche on the speakers. Curry, Vindaloo's mandatory. Taxi, wake up in your clothes, having pissed yourself. It's Dyche on the phone. Get down the pub, you puff. You're round.
It's brilliant, yeah.
Fantastic. Excellent. Oh, that's a missed opportunity if there's not Daniel Farker, though. That'd be great.
He's the Norwich guy, isn't he? Is he Norwich?
Norwich, yeah.
Yeah. No, it's not
Norwich,
but some of those are funny as fuck. Yeah, the Arteta one's the last one, if I can find it. Hang on. Where's the Arteta one? That was funny, the Mourinho one as well. I can't find it. There, hang on. Right.
Can you put a link in the comments? Can you put a link to them?
Yeah, no problem. No problem. Mikel Arteta, where is he? There he is. There. Issues strict instructions to avoid booze. Then ferries you to a medieval palace where, over 15 hours, he carefully administers pure opium into a 12th century ornamental pipe, taking you to ever higher plateaus of cosmic insight and practical epiphanies. Exhausting.
That's brilliant. Really good. I'm going to have to read through those.
It's a really, it's a lot of fun. In fact, I'll put it in our WhatsApp, Andrew, and then if you want to post it into the comments, because I'm a bit of a Luddite. There you go. Sent you that over.
I'll put it. I'll put it into the description of the podcast afterwards. That'd be fantastic. So thank you everyone for watching. Please give us a like before you go, and subscribe if you haven't done so already, and follow if you're listening to the audio version later on as well. But before we go, just going to quick mention on Sunday, going to do finally the mental health special that we've been talking about for the last 2 or 3 weeks, or maybe more. I'm going to do it this Sunday, 8 o'clock. So please spread the word. Please join us on the night and join in. If anyone would like to join us on the show, you're more than welcome. Got a couple of people that have shown an interest in that. But yeah, please join us in the comments and help spread the word about it, because as I've said before, it's a subject that's close to my heart, and I think I'm really passionate about it at the moment because it's going under the radar with all the pandemic situation, people being locked up in their homes, unable to see their families, especially the elderly, being left alone. It's a very, very difficult time for everyone with regards to sort of their mental health at the moment, and it's really important subject to talk about. So join us on Sunday evening at 8 o'clock, where we will be able to have an open forum to sort of talk about it, really, and tell your friends about it.
Yeah, I think it's something, especially within footballing culture as well, that doesn't get discussed enough. I mean, there are many issues, such as racism and homophobia, that are sort of very slowly being addressed. In my opinion, they can go much further. But I do think that mental health is something, as you say, that sweeps very low under the radar, and so something I think that the footballing culture doesn't really encourage with regards to fans being able to feel that they can speak about their own mental health and how they're feeling, really. So it's something that I think that we can all tackle together, and the more of us that talk about it, I think the better off and the better place we'll all be in, really.
All I'm going to say about it is that it's one of those things that is not obvious, so you've got to talk about it, because otherwise it'll just be forgotten about, and it mustn't be forgotten about. So things like you're doing, Andrew, is very, very good. Other people have done it as well. And it's so important that it is spoken about, because you don't know somebody until you know somebody. You might think you know somebody very well, and they won't show any signs. You think, oh yeah, they're all right, and you don't realise that sometimes there is a factor there, and everyone might have it to a degree, I don't know, to a very small degree, but we've all have our problems to a different degree. But it's so important that you talk to find out, and people open up about it, because I think it's good that people are talking about it now, for everybody's sake. I really do.
The thing is, when you say people suffer from it, even to a small degree, everyone starts off with it to a small degree, and it can get worse and worse and worse. It's different from person to person, but if you don't attack it head on, it can get to quite a serious situation in someone's life. And I said that this has been planned, this show, for maybe a few weeks now, and it's been put off because of I'm going through it myself at the moment, and that's the reason why I kept postponing it, because I couldn't do it. So it's going to go ahead on Sunday, and I really want it to hit as many people as possible, because it's very, very important in this current climate, more than ever. And I won't go about any more than that, but please tune in on Sunday at 8 o'clock. So thanks again to everyone that's been watching and listening. It's been really appreciated. Tell your friends about this show, because we want to get the listenership up and the viewership up. And subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. So thanks again. Melvin, great to have you back on. Hope to see you again very, very soon.
Yeah, hopefully. Yeah, definitely. Really enjoyed it again with the guys. Be back soon, and keep smiling. Keep smiling.
Definitely. There's always a bright side of life, as Monty Python once said. And Ryan, the Mr. Arsenal podcast on YouTube, your subscribership has been fantastic lately, and you've been going up and up and up, and it's because of the hours you've been putting in, Ryan. You fully deserve it. So where can people get hold of you? I've just given that most of it away, but give your channel a shout out. Don't be shy.
Well, as I said, on YouTube, you do as well. Yeah, subscriber-wise, it's been absolutely crazy. Can someone go and tell YouTube how much work I'm putting into this? Because the last few days have been trying to fuck me over, and I'm not happy with that side of things. But yeah, still, it is what it is. But come and find me on YouTube at the Mr. Arsenal podcast. You can also find me on social media. If you've got Twitter, Mr. Arsenal at Mr. Arsenal 89. And if you don't have Twitter but you have Facebook, just find my Facebook page, Mr. Arsenal Podcast. Again, I do stream off that with the watch songs of podcasts and things like that. Just in case people that don't have the access to YouTube around the world, they've got that other platform as well. And yeah, thanks for having me on again.
Very welcome. Very welcome. And chappers, you're part of the furniture around there, of course, a permanent fixture. People can get hold of you. Well, people wonder why I asked that, but people do actually listen to the audio podcast. They can't see what's on the screen. So tell them where they can.
So I am Chapmananoff on Twitter, and it's at Capman, CAPN Chapman, at Capman Chapman. I normally tweet nonsense. So if you like that particular brand of nonsense, then follow me on the Twitters. I'm nearly at the dizzy heights of about 400 followers. So, 3 more and I'm in. I'm somebody.
Mostly tweets about hair, ladies and gentlemen. And good old Barnet for people.
My favourite subject, yes.
Exactly. And Terry Mancini doesn't agree with a single word we've said all night, but really enjoyed the show. Thank you very much, Terry. That's fantastic. Love you, man.
Keep well, Terry.
And I never say this, funnily enough, and I just contradicted myself. I am Andrew the Hinkley Gooner at From Dial Square on Twitter. So please go and follow me as well, because I never read myself my own one out, and we do get audio listeners only as well. So thank you very much for that. And until next week, well, I say again next week, we'll have another one next Wednesday, but please join us on Sunday as well, as I mentioned. Thanks ever so much, everyone. Ta-ra.
Cheers.
Bye. Up the Arsenal.